Our next panelist is Dr. A.K. Lal. Please, may we have a round of applause for Dr. A.K. Lal.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, respected faculty, respected dignitaries sitting on the dais. I don't know what to speak on food wastage. I think almost 100% has been covered by people who have spoken just before me. But what I'll try and do is probably give you a gist of what all of them have just talked about. Now, food waste or wastage is a global problem. It's a global concern. And India is no exception. And I think as Indians, we should concentrate more on India, because India is a developing, developed nation, I don't know what to call it. And it has got so many problems apart from food wastage. And that's why we need to concentrate more on food wastage, and we know how to control it, how to curb it, how to prevent it. And you know the amount of food that is wasted in India is almost as much the amount that is consumed by the UK. So look at the amount which is wasted by Indians, the food, as was told by our chief guest, Justice Amiya, that pura khana khana hai, pratishtha nahi chhodna hai, pura kha lena hai. And that is why it is one of the biggest challenges India is facing today, because the amount of food wasted is a big amount. And that is seen all over. You move around on the roads, on the streets, you can see garbage bins full, completely full of wastage. You can see landfills, and that's an alarming proof of what is going on in our country. The Global Hunger Index places India, as somebody said, lowly rank of 97th among 118 countries, which is appalling, absolutely appalling. WHO is an organization which is working towards reducing hunger, and that did a survey in 2013 and said that around 20 crore Indians sleep hungry on any given night, which is almost 1/6 of the whole population of India. And in 2012, about 7 million children died of malnutrition. That obviously is because of food loss or food wastage. Now, where is I'll talk about food loss later, food wastage. Go to any wedding, go to any social function, go to any family event, or even in hotels and canteens. And for that matter, even in a household, you go and see a lot of food wastage being done there. According to the United Nations Development Program, as has been told, I think, a number of times this morning, that 40% of the food produced goes to waste. And there was a little survey done in Bangalore by the University of Agricultural Sciences, and they went and visited 75 wedding halls. And to their utter surprise, they found 943 tons of wasted food, which is enough to feed 2.6 crore people of regular Indian food. Just imagine the loss. We don't sit and think about it, but just imagine the loss. And this wastage is a universal problem. But as I told you earlier, India can afford it a whole lot less than many others, because it is obviously having so many other problems as well, apart from food waste. According to a report by the Food and Agricultural Organization of United Nations, every third malnourished child is an Indian. And even then, we waste food. Tons of food wasted every day. As I said, 40% of food produced gets wasted even before it reaches our plate. Founder of an organization known as Feeding India, Mr. Ankit Quatra has described very articulately the journey of 1 grain of rice. What he says is that out of 10 grains, 6 grains of rice never reach a home due to poor transportation or poor storage. Anything in the supply chain and other steps in the supply chain process. The next question is, how does food loss and food wastages cost humanity? Well, it can increase the risk of hunger or food insecurity. It results in the emission of methane gas, which is a toxic gas, all of us know. And that is responsible for production of greenhouse effects, which again leads to global warming and so many steps later on leading to problems in the glacier areas and then leading to other problems as well, even diseases. And to food inflation. In developed countries, food waste generally happens more at the consumer household level, where more than is required is purchased, and consequently, it sees the waste bin. In developing countries like India, the food loss or food wastage can be clearly divided into two things. One is a food loss, which occurs either at the harvest or at the storage area or in the transport or transit, and that is primarily due to poor infrastructure, poor technology, inadequately aligned processes. Besides the food wastage that occurs at the household level, India therefore is home to both food wastage and food loss. We have heard great lectures in the morning about food wastage. Just now about what are the steps in the chain that we can improve. Food wastage cripples and paralyzes the country's economy and sovereignty to an extent that most of us are completely unaware of. What is required, therefore, is a holistic approach to solve this problem. Food wastage must be stopped because not only does it affect the economy, it affects the ecosystem as well. It causes water pollution if you throw food waste in the reservoirs and the ponds, or air pollution. It causes air pollution as well. Deforestation you have done for cultivation, and then the food is wasted. So that is all gone to waste. And loss of valuable natural resources which are used to produce the waste further, like simple water, like oils, diesel, which are used in the generators. The amount of water which is needed to grow 1 kilo of rice, you'll be surprised to know, is 2,497 liters. That has gone to waste. If 1 kilogram of rice is gone to waste, this much of water is gone to waste. So what do we need to reduce food waste? We need 3 R's, as has been told by so many people around here. We must reduce the food at a very personal level. We should only procure or cook only that amount which is realistically used and required. You can see a little picture of a big fat man, obviously an American. Mrs. Orth said they eat too much. You can see him making a burger in which I think 10 people like us can eat that. And some person would argue that that is his diet, that he believes. But I say that is not his diet, that is unrealistic. If he eats that much, probably that is the reason he's grown so fat. He'll get hypertension, he'll get obese, he'll get diabetes, he'll get everything. He'll get heart problems as well. And then there is a burden on the hospital, on the medicines, on the surgeons. So it's a vicious cycle. So we need to buy only that much which is required or can be consumed. So the next is reuse. The leftover food should be refrigerated and should be used the next day. So cooking is important, procurement is important, and reuse is important. And recycle, in case the food is spoiled, should be recycled into compost, which is eco-friendly. And I can tell you, I, for one person, do it at home. I'm sure quite a lot of people would say yes. And I don't say I do it, I would say my wife does it. But it is done at my home. The small bucket, and then she puts waste and what 3-4 layers goes in there, and she makes a compost and uses them for gardening purposes. Make finishing the food on your plate a habit. Take only as much as you can eat, and inculcate it as much as possible. The state of hunger and malnutrition is known to everybody in India, which is very, very worrying. Hunger and malnutrition can cause severe problems. In India, about 38% of children below 5 years of 5 years of age are stunted, 21% are wasted, 36% are underweight, and 58% are anemic. Stunting of growth itself, because of malnutrition, is a big problem. It can be accompanied by a host of problems like weak immune systems, risk of sickness and diseases, arrested cognitive and physical development, and a greater risk of dying before the age of 5. Now, we were talking about what should we do and what level it should be done. It should be done first, what we expect from the government to do, and at the personal level also, we have to do a lot. Like what I know what the government is trying to do is, I can tell you a few things. Like they have initiated a program called Sampada for the food processing sector, aimed at reducing food wastage. And this includes mega food marts and cold chain projects, etc. These mega food parks envisage the creation of support infrastructure in a well-defined agricultural and horticultural zone for setting up of modern food processing units. For the all-round development of the food processing sector in the country, various aspects of total quality management, such as quality control, quality systems, and quality assurance are provided. NGOs like No Food Wastage, which is there in Coimbatore, should be started, which redistributes surplus food from large-scale events like weddings or hotels to nursing homes. Surplus food, nursing homes, orphanage and slums. Every small bit of effort towards reducing food wastage is helpful, and one should start this at home. There are some laws and rules, as Justice House talking about. Why not penalize people? Why not penalize the hotels? Why not penalize the canteens? They must penalize individual zones. And I can enumerate a few sections of the Indian Penal Code. There is a guest control order of 1960, and that was introduced after the Chinese aggression on the Bengal Peninsula. There should be a method to curb food wastage at weddings and social gatherings, and probably regarding this, a new law could be brought by the government. They are just thinking. If a person throws wasted food items in an area where people in general dwell, the food items decay, become breeding grounds for pathogens and mosquitoes. And this comes under public nuisance, and punishment can be given up to 200 rupees. I think it should be more than 200 rupees. And that comes under section 268 of the Indian Penal Code. And another thing is Indian Penal Code 277, and that is fouling water of public spring or reservoir, and that can cause the person, if he does it, imprisonment of either description, rigorous or simple, may extend up to 3 months, or fine up to ₹500, or both, imprisonment and fine, both. Mr. Ram Vilas Paswan, the Minister of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, said that the government is preparing to fix portion sizes of dishes served by hotels and restaurants. This I experienced just 2 days ago. I was in Lucknow regarding my son's marriage, marriage negotiations. And the food which came in the hotel was this much. Rice portion for 3 people is this much. We probably ate just half of it, and half of it is gone. So that should be done as well. Now, what are the measures adopted by other countries? I'll just go in very short. France has 3 strict laws regarding food wastage. I'm sorry, not 3. They have the strictest laws. They have proposed to ban supermarkets from throwing unsold food that was not spoiled. The supermarket must donate edible, unsold food to charities. They are also barred from deliberately spoiling the food they dump. Retailers in France now redistribute almost 100,000 tons to charity. That sounds very good. In the US, law encourages the supermarket to donate food to non-profit organizations by minimizing the donor's liability. In the UK, they have food waste supermarket, which said, I don't think I saw anything like when I was in UK almost 20 years ago, 2 decades now. And that waste supermarket sells food discarded by supermarkets and food businesses on a pay-as-you-feel basis. The supermarket has become a lifeline for several families in UK and is part of a larger project to channelize food wastage away from landfills and to fight hunger. Here is what we can do on a more personal level. Just a few things to enumerate. Plan out your meal, make your shopping list before you go to the shops. Not that you go in the shop and start looking here and there what to buy, what not to buy. I need only 1 bottle, take 3 bottles. Not like that. Buy in quantities you can realistically use. Avoid impulse buys. It will more or less find the bill, the waste bin. If you cook at home, make sure you cook keeping in mind there is no excess. Select according to your shelf, according to the shelf life of the item. Use the green vegetables first. Use canned and bottled food before the expiry date. Reuse the refrigerated leftovers. Even if the food gets spoiled, I said compost it and make finishing your plate a habit. जो बचपन में हमारे पिताजी कहा करते थे, is no more, that plate को चाट के खाना. Finish everything that you have in your plate. Thank you very much for your patience.